Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the MLB slate for Sunday. We have an 11-game slate. Hope you guys won some money with the UFC last night. If you watched the video, I'm sure you did. If you used a parlay, you made even more money. It's a plus 801 parlay I posted at the end of the video yesterday. Ended up cashing, so that was awesome. Let's get into this baseball slate. See if we can keep it going. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Yesterday, the Dodgers went off, so hopefully you guys had some Dodgers in your lineups. Definitely had a few of them. Looking at the lineups today in the totals, the White Sox stick out as the best stack of the slate, going up against Spencer Watkins and this awful Baltimore bullpen and this just great hitting ballpark. A lot of good things expected for the White Sox bats today. They have to be my favorite stack on the board. Some other stacks that look somewhat appealing are the Phillies going up against their former pitcher Nick Pivetta. Just because some of these guys are just way too cheap. McCutchen, $3,200. Brad Miller, $34. We saw his 3-home run game. You could have a min-priced Travis Janikowski at $2,000. He looks somewhat appealing if you need some value, but overall, the Phillies, just for their value and the chance to go off against Pivetta, who does give up a lot of home runs. The Twins against Willie Peralta, they're probably my third stack today. And then I looked at the A's. I might play over the Twins just because I like some of those bats. Like Elvis Andrus starting to hit the ball well. He's only $3,500, and you got some cheap guys right at the bottom of the lineup if you need some savings. So pitching-wise today, you do have a good amount of options. You have Brennan Woodruff, $10,000. Wanted to save some money. I think you can go down to maybe like a Robbie Ray against Tampa. You can even go even cheaper and go with Jose Barrios, who's only $8,000. Somehow he is cheaper than Nick Pivetta. He's cheaper than Trevor Williams. He's even cheaper than like some of these guys that give up some bombs and don't go super deep into games like Rich Hill, who's pitched pretty well this year, but we've seen him not go close to 100 pitches in some time. Whereas Barrios gets you a bunch of strikeouts. He also goes super deep into games, and he's coming off of one of his best performances of the year against a tough White Sox team. Only give 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. Should have a lot of success against this Tigers offense. I know he struggled the first time out, but he's definitely pitching a lot better than he was earlier this year. And he just has so much upside against this strikeout-heavy team. It's tough not to like him. And then the second pitcher I like, I think I can go somewhat cheap today just because I do expect myself to be able to pay up for some bats. You can go Ian Anderson against the Marlins. He is only $8,300. He's been fine this year. The somewhat slowed down a bit. He started off the season a lot better, but this Marlins offense, I think you can have success against with a guy like Anderson, or you can go down to like a Luis Castillo, who's only $7,900. I know this Brewers team has been decent offensively overall. They have a good record, but a lot of that's due to their pitching staff with Burns and Woodruff leading the way. Castillo struggled really badly the first couple months, but recently he's been really solid, rock solid, going 7, 6, 7, 6, 7 innings. Keep that going almost 6, 6. So he's been going 6, 7 innings, a lot of these starts since the beginning of June. And there's still a lot of strikeouts in this Milwaukee team. He still has his strikeout upside on the season. He's averaging a little under strikeout per inning, but over his last 10 starts, he's averaging more than a K per inning, just barely. The home runs are down a little bit. I think I can go Castillo and Barrios, give myself two guys with a good amount of strikeout upside and just upside in general at very, very good prices. Allows me to pay up for all the bats that I want. So starting off at first base, I will gladly go with Jose Abreu. $5,900, just his ballpark. Even if he hits it not even super hard, he has a chance of leaving the park. He's been very good so far this series. 4 hits in the first 2 games, couple of extra base hits. He's starting to come around a bit after he struggled with his average at times in the beginning of the first couple months, but last 10 games batting .341. He's looking like the MVP candidate that we saw last year. Looking to continue that today in probably the best matchup that he's had in the series. We can keep it going with second baseman Gene Segura, who's only $3,400. His price tag just refuses to increase on DraftKings. He bats leadoff for the team. He's been awesome. He's missed some time with injury, but still hasn't really slowed down at all this year. He's not going to hit you like multiple home runs, but he's a guy that gets on base, doesn't strike out a ton. He only has 39 strikeouts and 234 at-bats. He has a little bit of speed, but he hits the ball. He's a very good hitter, contact hitter. Hits for singles. He can also hit doubles, triples, we saw. And recently he's just been so good in general, having a 3-hit game, a 4-hit game recently. Just doing everything for the Phillies batting leadoff. Could see 5 at-bats today. Moving on to shortstop, a couple of options. You can go Tim Anderson if you wanted to pay up, or you can save some money and go all the way down to like Elvis Andrus, who's another guy who is starting to come around. He was off to an awful start for the A's this year, but recently both of his home runs have come in the last 10. They both come in a like 5-game span. He is putting up a lot of multiple hit games here. We're seeing a lot of double-digit fantasy points, and after the batting average still looks ugly, but recently he's just been a lot better. He's going up against his former team, so that's always a bit of a plus, and just a lot of different spot. You know, he normally is not used to hitting in Oakland, but now he's going back to Texas. And I know Texas is a different ballpark than it was years past, more pitching friendly, but any ballpark is better hitting than Oakland, and we've seen Andrus on the road bat 257. The OPS is a lot higher, slugging percentage is a lot higher. Also has a little bit of speed as well, so I don't mind going to Andrus at 35. Allows me to pay up for Abreu at first base, and I can pay up for like an outfield spot if I wanted to. In the outfield, sticking with the White Sox, I will go with Brian Goodwin, who I've been playing a ton, and he's been awesome. Recently, he's on a hot streak, $4,400, not even overly expensive for how good he's been. Has a 650 slug in the last 10 games, 300 average, hits the ball a mile, has a lot of power, decent amount of power, but he also hits for contact, gets on base, hasn't shown off his speed this year, but doesn't strike out an overly high rate. I expect the White Sox to just do a lot of damage today. Lefty-righty matchup for Goodwin. The way he's been swinging the bat, I expect another good game out of him. And that's about it. Still easy with 4,200 plus left for the rest of these bats, even with going with 2 pitchers with a bunch of strikeout upside and going with Abreu and going with Goodwin. So that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's touch on the FanDuel picks. So on FanDuel, it's very similar the way I'm going to approach the slate. I like Barrios a ton at pitcher. You can maybe throw in Castillo, go Woodruff if you wanted to, but I can make it work with Barrios easily. Segura still is a nice price tag on FanDuel. He's so appealing on FanDuel because you can play him at 3 spots. You can play him at second base, third base, or shortstop. So positional flexibility just makes him easy to get to. And then we're going with a couple of guys that are just way too cheap. Moncada is only 28, doesn't make a lot of sense. Andrus only $2,300. And Goodwin, just because I love the way he's been swinging the bat recently, expect him to maybe leave the yard today. Good spot for the White Sox to do a ton of damage. So with that being said, that is about it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck today, and I'll see you all next time.